When we last left off, there was an assassin working behind the scenes to kill the Red Skull, and they had begun messing with Captain America. Cap had just discovered that the assassin was actually potentially Bucky Barnes, going by the name Winter Soldier, working for Lucan. And Lucan just set off a bomb showing Captain America that he has failed at his job. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Captain America is fighting through the burning ground zero of Philadelphia, the latest location where his secret enemy has struck an attack against America. He's carrying innocent children caught in the terror, and he helps them escape by leaping through the flames. But Captain America is not just rescuing people from the firebomb. This place has turned into a battleground where AIM lackeys are recovering technology and murdering witnesses. Cap brings the fight to them, filled with the righteous fury that only a World War II veteran could possess. And as he finishes up with these evil peons, they call in for the MODOK Squad, military operative designed only for combat. Steve begins to single-handedly bring down these combat operatives, and soon, only one man stands in plain sight: the Winter Soldier himself. Cap sees him, and he asks him plainly, "Are you Bucky?" And the man only replies, "Who the hell is Bucky?" With that, a building falls between the two men, and the Winter Soldier is gone, leaving Captain America to wonder just who is the Winter Soldier. The next morning, Cap goes to S.H.I.E.L.D. for a briefing with Sharon Carter and Nick Fury. This meeting is to brief Steve Rogers on the dark truth about the Winter Soldier. He's an assassin that operated for the KGB throughout the Cold War between 1955 and 1977. Old facial recognition scans have pinpointed the same man at locations where key allies in the Cold War were mysteriously killed. But the man has apparently barely aged during those years, and he looks a lot like Bucky Barnes. This man, this myth, was given a name: the Winter Soldier, a KGB secret agent who looked like an American that could slip behind enemy surveillance without batting an eye. He would operate for 6 months at a time and then go back on ice for 5 years. Nick Fury believes that he has finally resurfaced, and he believes that this man is in fact Bucky Barnes, Captain America's one-time friend and war partner. With all of this intel sinking in and the images on the screen, Captain America smashes the screen in anger and frustration, and then he looks at Fury and he asks him, "What's the plan?" Fury immediately tells him that their number one suspect is General Lucan, and they plan to go after him and bring him in. But he has the Cosmic Cube, so they need to hurry. Cap, of course, is in, and the mission is being prepared. After Cap leaves the room, Fury lets Sharon Carter know that Neil Tapper, her one-time boyfriend, is the one that found the bomb last night in Philadelphia, and he died in that explosion. S.H.I.E.L.D. helicopters are flying into Mongolia with Captain America, Agent Carter, and Nick Fury on board. It's a secret mission, a mission not approved by the United States, and the mission is to take in Alexander Lucan. The government believes that Jack Monroe is the one who acted alone in assassinating the Red Skull and setting off the bomb in Philadelphia, and they do not support going in after Lucan. But Fury and Cap know better. They soon land in China, in a small territory where Lucan has purchased land from the Chinese for his Cronus Corporation. They go to work on the military thugs working for Lucan, and they take them down with S.H.I.E.L.D. precision. And eventually, they break into the Cronus Corporation's main building where they believe Lucan is in a private meeting on one of the top floors. They make their way up there, and Captain America barges into the room and sees Lucan, so he goes straight for him. He screams at Lucan, "Where is he?" But Lucan is playing ignorant. Suddenly, Captain America is told to stand down, not by Fury, but by the other man in the room. A man from the White House was in this meeting, and he tells Captain America to stop this assault on Lucan. He is a friend of the United States. The United States is working on a deal with the Cronus Corporation to build a pipeline for Madripoor, and this is basically an attack on a sovereign nation. Fury is forced to call off the operation, much to Captain America's dismay. And on the flight back from China, Steve realizes that Lucan has played them once again. With diplomatic immunity and the Cosmic Cube, Alexander Lucan might as well be untouchable. Back home from his failed mission, Steve Rogers finds a file sitting on his table labeled Project Winter Soldier Confidential Files. What he reads are details on the Winter Soldier, but more importantly, the confirmation that Bucky Barnes is indeed the Winter Soldier. And then he learns how this happened. The Soviets recovered Bucky's body from the English Channel. He was found dead and missing his right arm, but his body was frozen, and they were able to bring him back from the dead. At first, he violently resisted them, but soon they used brainwashing techniques to eliminate his past self from his memories. Then they created the bionic arm for him and trained him to be an assassin. The files detail several missions that he went on, but what Cap found interesting was that at times, Bucky would apparently begin to remember who he was by not acting brainwashed but acting on his own, perhaps trying to remember his old life. While they were able to recover him, they would have to keep brainwashing him to keep him as their weapon. The files showed that they would put him into stasis every so often because of his strange mental lapses. files. Eventually, he was decommissioned and lost in General Karpov's weapons at the end of the Cold War. These files confirmed everything that Fury told him, and Steve was devastated. But Bucky still lives inside this weapon, this Winter Soldier, so perhaps, just maybe, he hopes that his friend is still in there. In New York City, a meeting is taking place with several powerful corporations at the request of Alexander Lukin. He shows the CEOs the Cosmic Cube, and he offers it up for auction for $1 billion. The room goes mad, and the bidding is excessive. Suddenly, one of the men in the room demands a demonstration of its power, so Lukin obliges the fool. He uses the cube to summon up contracts that will create mergers for each of these corporations with the Cronus Corporation. He then tells them that they will all sign these mergers, and they will be happy to do so. Without a thought, they all follow his demands, and they leave the room happy without another thought about the Cosmic Cube. But after the CEOs have left, Lukin collapses from the power of the cube. His assistant Leon goes to pick it up, telling him that such power comes with a price, and that's when Lukin picks up a desk and bashes it over Leon's head, nearly killing him. Captain America, meanwhile, is still grappling with the revelation of those secret files. He handed them all over to Fury so that they could confirm their authenticity. How did he get the files in the first place? Was it Lukin trying to manipulate him? Why would he tip his hand? Nonetheless, it has had an effect on Steve Rogers. Knowing that it is in fact Bucky, Cap believes that he is just a tool being used by the Soviets, most recently Lukin. He has to be saved. Sharon Carter is worried about Cap not being able to kill the Winter Soldier because of his beliefs, but Sharon wants her revenge for the death of her boyfriend. So she also isn't seeing things too clearly. Cap escapes to the rooftops to think about his conflicting thoughts, and that's where he thinks that Sharon might be right. He might have to kill his one-time friend. So he runs across the city of New York, and he's soon greeted by a familiar face, another one-time partner, Falcon. Falcon tells Captain America that he was contacted by Nick Fury because Fury thought that Cap could use a friend. And indeed, Captain America does need one. Alexander Lukin has beat his closest confidant into the infirmary, barely holding on to life. And he thinks to himself, this cannot continue. The Cosmic Cube is taking its toll on him. So he makes a decision to place the cube into hiding by giving it to his most trusted agent, the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is to kill anyone who tries to take it. But even the Winter Soldier briefly questions this order. After all they went through to secure it, why send it away? To keep it out of enemy hands, of course. And with that knowledge, Winter Soldier leaves with the Cosmic Cube. Alexander is left alone to ponder, and a voice in the back of his head tells him that it was a mistake to hide it. No, he says, that thing is cursed. Captain America and Falcon are back at Captain America's home talking about the situation once again. They reminisce about how their fates are tied to the Cosmic Cube and how things never seem to work out with that item. Then they formulate a plan to save Bucky. The next day, Falcon, Cap, and Iron Man raid a warehouse in New York City. It is an aid warehouse filled with crazy weapons, and the trio do battle with the men who are nowhere near their abilities as a team. Even with their own crazy mecha suit, the agents of aid are not able to fight against the Avengers. At the end of their combat, they capture one of the scientists, and Cap wants the scientist to tell him how to track down the Cosmic Cube. And they discover that AID has created a device to follow the cube, so using that, they know exactly where it's being kept. Tony Stark uses his technology with the device that AID created, and they figure it all out. The cube seems to be going to the Cronus Corporation research facility in West Virginia by jet. However, Tony tells them that he can't help them with this one. Stark Industries barely avoided a buyout from Cronus recently, and if Iron Man is seen raiding the competition, that could spell doom for the troubled Stark Industries. So Falcon and Cap strike out on their own to pursue the Cosmic Cube. Time is of the essence, and while they are on their way, they are contacted by Agent 13, Sharon Carter. They catch her up to speed as to what they're doing, and Captain America is going in without authorization from S.H.I.E.L.D. in the United States if need be. They won't be outmaneuvered like they were in China. Reluctantly, Sharon scrambles a S.H.I.E.L.D. strike force to meet them at the facility, hoping that this all pans out. Cap and Falcon arrive at the facility ready to find the cube, and that's when Falcon uses his communication with nearby birds to get a view of the area and discovers a jet has recently arrived, so time is of the essence. Off in the distance, the Winter Soldier is taking aim at Captain America. His orders are to kill anyone who is going after the cube. So the Winter Soldier takes his first shot, and it's at Falcon. Falcon soars away just in time, dodging the kill shot. Of course, this gives away the Winter Soldier's position, and Cap hurls his shield at the Winter Soldier, dismantling the rifle. He soon rushes towards the base and scrambles the Cronus guards to get a hold of the gate. Captain America then dives into the men, making quick work of them as he chases the Winter Soldier into the base. The base is built into the mountains and has a network of tunnels that could allow the Winter Soldier to escape with the Cosmic Cube. So Captain America must succeed. He must stop the Winter Soldier. He soon runs into him behind the next door, and the Winter Soldier is ready to take a stand against Captain America and end him once and for all. They begin to tangle in the hallway just as S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up with Agent 13 ready to raid the base with Falcon. During the fight, the Winter Soldier pulls no punches. He is trying to kill Steve, but Cap keeps calling him Bucky, and he tries to get him to remember who he once was. The Winter Soldier doesn't believe him, and he continues to fight against Captain America, when suddenly Captain America falls to his knees and tells him, "Fine, shoot me. If you truly don't know who I am, then just do it." The Winter Soldier takes aim and he pulls the trigger just as Falcon and Agent 13 arrive. But the shot clearly misses. That's when Captain America throws his shield into the wall and it ricochets into Winter Soldier's back, knocking him down, dislodging the cosmic cube that he's been carrying. Captain America then picks up the cube and says, "Remember who you are." The power of the cosmic cube knocks Winter Soldier to the ground and he screams out. Memories of the past wash over him, memories of what he once was, his time as Bucky Barnes, the partner of Captain America during the Second World War. He remembers what happened to him on that fateful day where he died and that he was brainwashed by the Soviets to become their perfect assassin. He remembers it all, and then he looks at Captain America and says, "You should have just killed me." He then picks up the cosmic cube and with his bionic arm he crushes the cube while unleashing its final power. With the power unleashed, the Winter Soldier is gone and the cosmic cube is reduced to dust. They think Bucky killed himself, but Steve refuses to believe it. Bucky's a survivor. He's out there somewhere. I know it. At Fort LaHaye, Bucky walks alone and he remembers the first time that he met Steve Rogers, the Captain America. He sits on the ground, overwhelmed by grief. Bucky is back, but he's riddled with guilt from the past. At Cronus Tower in New York, Alexander Lukin looks in, having a discussion in his mind. The voice in his head continues to tell him that it was a mistake to send away the cosmic cube, and now it is gone. But Lukin is relieved that it's gone, because that item is cursed, so much so that it placed the mind of Red Skull into his head. They are both now trapped in Lukin's mind together, like rats in a cage. But the voice of Red Skull tells him, "Yes, for now." And that is the comic book story of the Winter Soldier. We're gonna go do some Iron Man stories, and then we're gonna come back to tell you the next Captain America story to help get you all caught up on everything that's going on with Cap. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know in the comments down below other popular Captain America stories that you guys want us to cover. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian, and follow me on Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.